sports, what have you seen from the league over the past year or so that y'all have improved on, that has you excited, and that kind of lets you know that the league is headed in the right direction?
Oh gosh, there's a number of different things. I'll cover a few, and Russ will cover the rest, and there'll still be a ton on the table. But I would start first with our athletes, the quality of athlete that's on the play, that's out on the field playing, the level of play year over year. You know, when we were at camp this season, and you saw our athletes taking the field, and you saw their conditioning and how quickly they adapted. I mean, we're going to see that. I think we saw that yesterday with that great 74-yard touchdown. We're going to see moments like that. So super, super excited about that. Very excited about our innovation in technology. We also started to see that yesterday as well. And continued leadership. You know, this leadership group is invested in this league, invested in the longevity of this league, making sure we have great partnerships that set our athletes up, that set our league up for years after years, and we've made great headway in all those areas. I don't think I covered everything.
No, you're pretty close. So, no, we're honored to be here, opening up again here in Arlington. Arlington's our home. And when you talk about progress, you don't have to look very far than over at 1401 Nolan Ryan Parkway, right? When we talk about, well, we're a league of increments, incremental growth. We've seen it on the field, as Dany mentioned, with our athletes and our support staff, our coaching staff. But to have that opportunity to have UFL headquarters right here in Arlington, Texas, is so meaningful to so many of us, to see the opportunities that our athletes have in that building when it comes to their development, nutrition, the weight rooms that we have been able to put together over the last 2 years for our athletes. It's a complete game changer, and we're thrilled to call our home Arlington.
Next question. On the left?
Yeah.
First row.
Anthony Miller, All Football Digest. I'm interested to hear, how important was it for you folks to have a full off season versus last off season where you kind of cramped everything up within 2-3 months of planning for the year?
It's funny you mentioned that. We joke about it often, Dany and I. It feels like 14 years, but it's been 14 months. When we sat here a year ago, we were drinking out of the proverbial fire hose, just operationally trying to get everything up and running. We were fortunate as Legacy XFL to have a year under our belt in this area. But bringing our USFL friends into the mix, it was a seamless transition. And that starts with the leadership of Arlington and Mayor Ross and Sean Decker from the Rangers, and that whole team have been incredible for us. But to answer your question as well, to have the opportunity from a business standpoint to really start to build the foundation with a lot of discipline and a lot of structure in each of our markets along here in Arlington has been critical. And we look forward to, even last year we had to reframe and restructure some things. So we're really going into what we say is our season one of real off-season planning that we're really looking forward to.
On the left.
Kelvin Cayley, BCP Plus. This question is for both of you guys. With this year and last year being successful as it was, this year we look at kind of expanding. What is the plan? Is there any plans of expanding the league to different cities? And how pivotal is this season to that?
So expansion is absolutely a part of our business plan. It was a part of our business plan when we knew we were bringing the two leagues together. The development process, the research process of that is something that we're deeply into, and that we are very, very, I would say, meticulous about looking where we need to be and which markets we should be at. So our athletes in our new communities will merge perfectly. We haven't set a time for dates of announcements, but we are deep in that process. Russ, did I miss anything?
No, you said it well. We put out an RFP process about 5 months ago. We were thrilled with the responses of people that are interested in the UFL coming to their communities. And as Dany said, and I said it earlier, there's a lot of structure and discipline and integrity that's going into the process. And we're going to continue down that roadmap as we continue to refine our business plan.
Second row on the left.
Hi, Jess and Mars, Boss 4 or the 4th and 12th podcast. Thank you guys for being here today. What threshold do you guys have to hit first in order to hit that knowledge of it's time to expand or we're ready to do that? Is there a certain threshold or something you want to achieve first?
First of all, it's a great question. It's less about a threshold and more about process and alignment. The ecosystem of football, which is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced, is a living, breathing thing. And it's really about making sure the processes are in place, the partnerships are in place. You never want to run too early so that you can run right. And that takes time. That takes time. So I would say less about milestones and more about the correct and the right amount of information and questions answered. Would you agree with that?
Perfect.
Thank you. Positive feedback.
Any other questions?
No, but you're here.
Just second.
Question. How important is there any plan to around the Hispanic market, the Mexican love football, American football since forever. So this league is going to be broadcasted through ESPN
Yes.
down the border. So
Mhm.
is there any plan to try to reach this kind of fun? By the way, I'm Carlos with ESPN International.
Oh, hey, Carlos. Thank you for asking. I have to tell you, this is our favorite conversation as we're looking at football and we're looking at where we could be and our partnerships, especially in Hispanic markets, especially in Mexico. So, it's on our discussion and dialogue and how to do that in the best possible manner. It is not out of our ecosystem. It is something that lives centered. I can't say exactly when it will happen, but I can tell you that we are deeply interested in it.
Any plan of looking for players down the border? And during the last couple of years, the NFL is coming with some international players like Isaac Alarcon with the 49ers, used to be a Cowboy.
Yeah. Russ, do you want to?
Yeah, from our standpoint, Carlos, that's a great question. We do about 7 showcases a year, and we have signed 25 players from the showcases this year alone, which is a great success. So we're looking to continue to expand that opportunity. And again, we're in the process right now of looking at those locations as we move forward. And we went to Hawaii a few years ago, and we had, maybe it was our best showcase with the amount of players that we were able to feature from the Polynesian descent. So we're going to continue to look out for opportunities to expand our growth in that area as well.
I think we can go to the left, first row.
I was going to speak to that, but also, with the success of all the players, you had over 50 players go to the NFL. What has that interest been outside looking towards getting towards the NFL? Has it been greater or?
We've been really pleased, and Dany mentioned earlier, when you look at our athletes and you walk into our headquarters, I was with Buffalo for 2 decades, and it's no different walking into the headquarters than it was at One Bills Drive with the athlete. We have had a lot of success over the last few years. You mentioned 51 players have signed NFL contracts. It's over 10% of our league. All 32 teams have given our players our tryout. We have 387 tryouts over the past year alone. So as we see those numbers continue to rise, it's great for our league. It's a great development tool that we have with our coaches and our performance science staffs and athletic training. And we are a standalone spring league, but we also are very mindful that many of these athletes want the opportunity to go back to the NFL. Out of our 400 athletes, 356 of them have rostered in some form or fashion in the NFL. So we understand that, and we continue to use that as a benchmark for our league.
Okay, go second row to the left.
Again, staying on that train, is there any success story? We all know the Brandon Aubrey and the Devontae Turpin storylines, but any success story that stands out to you guys individually so far?
Oh my goodness, I'll let you take it. I think we feel the same way.
Obviously Jake Bates. It was a great story. Jalen Redmond going to the Minnesota Vikings and signing an extension. And I'm going to throw one that you don't know, Zach Woodfin. He was our head strength and conditioning for the league. And on the first day of the merger, he got the call that he was going to be named the head of the Tennessee Titans. Again, it's about our athletes, but it's about our league in general. As Dany always says, it's about our people. And to see that call was incredibly emotional and heartwarming because it was obviously a goal of his. So We want that for everyone in our organization.
Second row on the right.
Nicholas King of Blue Line Sports Journal. This question's for both of you guys. What are some ways to further the local community bond with the teams and the players, despite being here hubbed in Arlington?
It's a great question. It's actually something that we're always working on every week as we're doing many of our numerous meetings. We work to have our athletes here early. We especially these Arlington athletes have been all around, which is in all of our markets extremely important. We work deeply with local partnerships, so getting that community a part of the organization, part of game day, and the leverage that we have, the real space where we have more opportunity is in the storytelling with our fans and the community and the athletes. So as Russ was talking about, it's about getting incrementally better year after year, but in this space we look to make major strides, and that should have great impact.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add is we've had over 400 community appearances in the respective markets with players, coaches throughout the course of the year. We're very fortunate from that standpoint. The other note that I'd like to point out is we have full-time staffs in each market. So we have a head of business operations and a business staff, ticketing staff, sponsorship staff that are a part of the community on a daily basis full-time. So that's really important for us as an example here in Arlington, to be a part of the fabric of the community. Bob Stoops has been amazing here as an example. I use Bob as with Chalk Talks in Mansfield and South Lake and throughout the community year round.
We'll take one more question. Right there.
Yeah, I'm curious from a business perspective, how much do you want to push for the league to be seen as like a developmental league for the NFL versus, okay, we want to be a standalone league that has our own stars, like the Luis Perez is important.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question. We, as Russ had mentioned, we are a standalone league first. While our players get opportunities, it's symptomatic of doing great work. Now, I think the narrative would be like, okay, our players are here, they moved, you did your job. No, every time an opportunity comes, because whether it's a player or coach or refs, anyone within the organization is able to move in a different manner, that means we are doing an excellent job. And we will continue to be a league that wants to have greatness come from time with us, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, but that's how we look at every decision we make.
Perfect again.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you guys.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thanks
the
for being
game.
here.